It was midnight on a desolate stretch of highway heading north through California. A torrential rain was relentlessly pounding the asphalt, creating a silvery curtain in the narrow beam of Keanu Reeves' classic motorcycle headlight, dangerously reducing visibility. He loved these spontaneous road trips, escaping the noise of the city, the artificiality of film sets, finding a kind of meditation in the solitude of the open road, alone with his thoughts. But tonight, fatigue and the driving rain were turning this escape into a challenging ordeal. As his fuel gauge neared empty, a sign flickered weakly in the distance through the downpour. Fuel market open, 24 hours. It was an old-style gas station set back slightly from the highway, looking almost forgotten in the dead of night. A few 18-wheelers were parked far off in the shadows, engines idling or silent. The fluorescent lights of the convenience store bled faintly through rain-lashed windows. Keanu signaled, slowed down, and navigated the gravel access road. He pulled his motorcycle under the relative shelter of the pump canopy, cutting the engine. Removing his helmet, the cold raindrops felt sharp on his face, jolting him awake. He zipped up his waterproof jacket, already damp, and pulled the black beanie low over his forehead, hoping to remain unrecognized. He pushed open the market door with a jingle of an old bell. The air inside was still, smelling faintly of stale coffee, wet floor mats, and cheap cleaning supplies. The only sounds were the low hum of refrigerators and the constant drumming of rain outside. A young cashier sat behind the counter, earphones in, completely engrossed in his phone, barely registering Keanu's entrance. As Keanu headed toward the self-serve coffee machine, a small, still figure standing near the glass doors by the drink coolers caught his eye. At first, he didn't fully process it. Maybe the cashier's kid. But then he looked closer. It was a little girl, no more than 5 or 6 years old, wearing a faded pink raincoat, likely over pajamas. Her small feet were bare on the cold linoleum floor. She was clutching a raggedy stuffed rabbit with one button eye missing, holding it tightly to her chest. She stood motionless, staring out through the glass door at the dark, rain-swept exterior with wide, terrified eyes. Her face held an expression of pure, unadulterated fear and lostness that Keanu had never seen on a child before. Keanu forgot about the coffee. A cold dread washed over him. This wasn't right. He scanned the small store again. No other customers. The cashier was oblivious. No movement outside at the pumps. This child was completely alone. He slowly approached the cashier. "Excuse me," he said. The young man reluctantly looked up. Keanu nodded toward the door. "That little girl, is she with you? Do you know where her parents are?" The cashier glanced over indifferently. "Dunno," he mumbled, shrugging. "Think she's been standing there for like half an hour maybe? Maybe her mom's in the restroom." He turned back to his phone. Keanu's concern deepened. Half an hour? In this weather? At this time of night? Her mother couldn't be in the restroom that long. Something was terribly wrong. His heart began to beat faster. He took a deep breath. He needed to be calm, not frighten her more. He left the coffee machine and walked slowly towards the girl, keeping his movements gentle, his hands visible. He stopped a few feet away and knelt, bringing himself down to her level. "Hello," he said, his voice as soft and calm as he could manage. The little girl flinched violently, her eyes widening further as she stumbled back a step, hitting the cold glass of the cooler door. She hugged the rabbit even tighter, burying her face slightly in its worn fur. Keanu stayed where he was. "It's okay," he said gently. "I don't want to scare you. My name's Keanu. I wanted to see if you're all right. You look a little lost." The girl didn't answer. She was trembling visibly, her eyes darting between Keanu and the dark doorway. Her lower lip began to quiver dangerously. "Are you lost?" Keanu asked again, softly. "Where are your mommy and daddy?" That question broke through her fear-induced paralysis. Tears flooded the little girl's eyes, spilling silently down her cheeks at first, then turning into heartbreaking sobs that shook her small body. "They left," she finally choked out between gasps. "The blue truck. They left." "Did they forget me?" She looked around frantically. "They didn't come back." Keanu's heart ached watching her pure terror and feeling of abandonment. No, no, sweetheart, he said quickly, moving a little closer. I'm sure they didn't forget you. It must be a mistake. It's okay. Please calm down. He slowly reached out a hand towards her, palm open reassuringly. Maya, he would learn her name was Maya later, hesitated for a split second, her tear-filled eyes searching his face. Then, perhaps seeing only kindness there, she let out a small cry and launched herself forward. She threw her tiny arms around Keanu's neck, burying her wet face into his damp jacket, clinging to him with all her might. I'm scared, she sobbed, her voice muffled against his chest. So scared. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Keanu froze for a heartbeat, completely taken aback by the sudden, desperate embrace and the raw trust it implied. Then instinctively, his arms wrapped around her small, trembling frame. Shh. Okay, he murmured, gently rubbing her back. I'm right here. I won't leave you. I promise. You're safe now. Her small body shook with sobs, but she held on tight. Keanu just held her, sitting there on the cold floor of the desolate gas station market, offering silent comfort, the only sound the drumming of the rain outside and the little girl's heartbreaking cries slowly subsiding against his chest. Time seemed to stand still. In that moment, holding this terrified child seeking refuge in his arms, he felt a profound sense of responsibility he hadn't felt in years. Eventually, Maya's sobs lessened into soft whimpers. Keanu gently eased back, keeping a reassuring hand on her shoulder, looking into her tear-streaked face. Feeling a little better? Maya sniffled and nodded. Can you tell me your name, sweetheart? Maya, she whispered, her voice shaky. Okay, Maya, Keanu said with an encouraging smile. Now try very hard to remember for me. Where were Mommy and Daddy going? What did the truck look like? Maya seemed calmer now, thinking hard, wiping her eyes. Daddy's truck is blue. Big blue pickup. It has tools in the back. Mommy was in the front. I think I was asleep in the back seat. I woke up and we were here. I needed the potty. When I came back, they were gone. Tears welled up again. We were going to the town with the big bridge. Daddy wears a hat, like a cowboy. Keanu absorbed the details. Blue pickup, maybe a cowboy hat, heading towards the town with the bridge. Limited, but something to work with. He stood up, taking Maya's small hand. Come on, he said gently. He led her over to the single small table and chairs in the corner, the safest spot away from the door. He went back to the cashier, his tone now firm. You need to call the police. Now there's a lost child here. She's been here for about an hour. The cashier, finally grasping the seriousness, picked up the phone. Keanu turned back to Maya. Let's get you something warm. Hot chocolate? Maya nodded shyly. Keanu got drinks from the machine and a package of cookies. As they sat, Keanu knew he needed to do more. This was a remote stretch of highway. Police response could be slow. Maya's parents must be frantic. He pulled out his own phone, keeping it low. He called a trusted security consultant he used for emergencies, someone adept at logistics and liaising with authorities discreetly. He spoke quietly but clearly, relaying the location, Maya's name and age, the time frame, the vehicle description, blue pickup, possible direction towards Bridgetown, father's hat. Highway Patrol has been notified via the station attendant, he explained. But this is a large area. Could you please alert all units in this direction for the next 100 miles or so? Check upcoming exits, rest stops. Be extremely discreet. The family is likely in severe panic. All expenses covered. Keep me updated. And keep my involvement completely confidential. He hung up, then began the wait. Keanu sat with Maya, trying to keep her calm and distracted. He asked her about her bunny. His name's Cotton, she whispered, holding him up. Keanu smiled. Cotton looks very brave. Maya giggled softly. Keanu pointed out the different types of trucks parked outside in the rain. He made up a silly short story about Cotton going on an adventure. Maya listened, her eyes wide, gradually relaxing in Keanu's quiet, reassuring presence. The minutes ticked by agonizingly slowly. Maya, exhausted from crying and fear, eventually leaned her head against Keanu's arm and drifted off to sleep. Keanu didn't move, letting her rest, watching over her protectively. Nearly half an hour later, the flashing blue and red lights of a highway patrol car illuminated the rainy parking lot. Keanu gently woke Maya as the officer came inside. "Look, Maya, the police are here. They're going to help find your family." Keanu quickly explained the situation to the officer. As the officer took down the details, his radio crackled to life. Another unit, further down the highway, near the next major junction leading towards a town known for its large bridge, had just stopped a blue pickup truck. The parents inside were distraught, reporting their daughter missing from a gas station stop they'd made nearly 2 hours ago, having only just realized she wasn't asleep in the back. Keanu felt a wave of relief wash over him. He knelt beside Maya again. "Maya, wonderful news. They found Mommy and Daddy. They're okay, and they're coming back for you right now." Maya's eyes flew open, her face lighting up with pure joy. "Really? They're coming?" Moments later, the blue pickup truck skidded to a halt outside the market. Doors flying open. A woman and a man with a cowboy hat stumbled out, faces etched with panic and tears. "Maya, my baby!" the woman cried, running inside. Maya leaped off the chair. "Mommy, Daddy!" The reunion was a torrent of emotions. Desperate hugs, tears of relief, apologies, kisses. Keanu and the patrol officer stood back, giving the family their moment. After the initial wave subsided, the father, tears still streaming down his face, his cowboy hat clutched in his hand, turned to Keanu. You found her? You stayed with her? Sir, we don't know how to thank you. We thought," his voice broke. Keanu offered a small, understanding smile. "I didn't really do anything. Maya is a very brave little girl. The important thing is that she's safe now," he said quietly, keeping his voice low, not wanting to draw attention to himself. As the parents talked with the patrol officer, explaining their mistake, thinking the other had checked on Maya during the stop, Keanu saw his moment. Maya, now securely wrapped in her mother's arms, looked over and gave him a small, shy wave. Keanu nodded back gently. He quietly slipped back toward the door, nodding briefly to the cashier, who now looked slightly awestruck. Outside, the rain had eased to a drizzle. He pulled on his helmet, mounted his motorcycle, and started the engine. As he pulled slowly back onto the dark highway, the lights of the gas station receding in his mirror, he felt a profound mix of emotions. The image of Maya's terrified face, the feeling of her small arms clinging to him for safety, the overwhelming relief on her parents' faces. Life was so fragile, so precious. How easily could a child be overlooked, lost in the rush of the world? He thought about his own life, the bubble of fame and security he lived in, so far removed from the raw fear that little girl had experienced tonight. But tonight, for a few hours, that distance had vanished. He had simply been a person helping another person in need. It grounded him. Perhaps, he reflected as the miles passed under his wheels, the most important journeys weren't the ones plotted on a map to a film set or a premiere, but the unexpected detours where you had the chance to simply stop, to see someone, and to offer a moment of kindness in the rain. This story shows how heavy silence can sometimes be, but also what a single voice or stance, or even just a gentle hug, can change. Against what fear does the Maya inside you struggle? Or have you been the Keanu offering safety and support to someone lost in a difficult situation? Let's inspire each other by sharing moments of courage, support, and humanity in the comments. If this story touched you too, help more people hear this message by liking, sharing, and subscribing.